pick rising in priority a little bit, and we're starting to learn a little bit about the series meta, I think, for us, Corinne.
Yeah, it feels like an arms race right now between two different positions on the map. The Twisted Fate, now it has won on both sides of the Sylas matchup in the hands of Showmaker as well as Caps, as well as the Leona, the counter picks of the supports, if you will, and how they get unlocked and impact the jungle matchup in particular. Canyon and Nagari had a terrible game number 2, where I think that was kind of the collapsing moment for DAMWON. So it's about resetting expectations. It's 1-1 apiece, and frankly, I think Game 2 is always the most important in a best-of series, as someone will move to match point.
Very much the case. Here we are. Who will get to match point? How will DAMWON adapt for now? Despite G2's success with the Camille, they will take it away themselves. The Ornn going to be banned out as well. The Nidalee to follow. Will someone take away the Twisted Fate? And if so, what will slip through the cracks this time around? Other thing to keep our eyes on is the arms race in the support position. Leona, so far undefeated in the series, looking like the best champ in that bot lane by far.
There's also the fact that DAMWON had side selection as the losing team from game number 2, and they chose to go to red side. So perhaps putting more emphasis on finding a counter pick in one of their matchups, either that's top lane or if that's mid lane, and not necessarily relying on the high priority that blue side has needed.
Debate, though, on what this last ban is. What are they going to open up for G2?
Lucian ban from blue side. It tells me that Twisted Fate is like the thing that G2 want.
Well, and that's the thing we talked about, right? Like, it beat Sylas on both sides of the matchup, so Sylas is actually going to be the thing that they take away.
Okay, well then you would expect that the TF comes out.
That doesn't feel bad, though. You can just blind... People have been blinding TF this entire series.
High priority champions still available. The Twisted Fate, the Graves, the Lilia.
Of course, Merc Tread's value goes through the roof if you grab TF and Lilia. So if the TF is picked up here, I expect to see Graves grabbed on the opposite side. But instead, it's the Jhin. Okay, interesting pivot here.
So Jhin as a champion obviously has so much utility, damage, and has great push actually built into his kit. We've seen that Ghost has really relied on this champion, played the Ashe in game number 2, but I believe it's also hit the ban phase. Just checking.
Yeah, it did hit the ban phase in game 2.
Banned by DAMWON in blue side in game 2. So that does mean that the Graves falls through. The Twisted Fate is still open and available. Without Sylas, you know, one of the big answers does make it a little bit more free. We'll see if Showmaker decides to commit to it.
And I'm surprised to see the hesitance here around this pick. Now, of course, maybe we're at the point where support options have been going very light. They can do something else instead. Now, this is interesting. Opting for the Syndra. Very much in line with what we expect from Showmaker. Played it 2 times before this game. But Syndra blind pick has been a bit up for debate so far at Worlds, because while it's usually ahead in the lane, it's also losing most of its games.
Yeah, Syndra has also been super high priority in terms of the ban list throughout the entirety of the tournament. We know that Showmaker, Knight, basically every single mid laner that's left in this tournament is such a powerful Syndra player. And then you have such a powerful and dominant 2v2 jungle mid. Think about that level 6 of the Syndra ultimate, the Graves ultimate, and just how it can wipe someone off the face of the map. But Caps decides to go for the skill and locks in the Akali.
Akali, a notoriously difficult champion to deal with, will certainly help in skirmishes. Technically is still a flex as well. So some options there. How do DAMWON want to react here in the phase? They could pick an AD carry for themselves before those bans come through. They could certainly also try to grab a support. Pantheon, again, feels like the premier support option, but is never really receiving high blind priority here in the drafts. Instead, it is going to be the Ashe. Now, the Ashe won't be quite as vulnerable to the Jhin as she was to the Ezreal in the previous game, but definitely still going to be a bit difficult up against the likes of an Akali.
So still contesting for a lot of that wave clear. We've talked about how Ashe and Jhin have been facing each other all over the world globally, especially in the LCK and the LPL. Jhin can contest some of the wave push, does have great utility. Jhin also has to stand still for the ultimate. It lines up really perfectly for Ashe. Bard ban is kind of interesting. So one of the other champions that I actually like into Jhin is Bard, because again, he needs to stand back.
Stuns himself.
Opens up the curtain.
Lines it up for you.
And finds it really free. I do expect the Leona to continue to be contested here. And technically, DAMWON would get first priority or first access to that champion if they wanted to pick it coming out of ban phase.
Certainly does not feel bad. Of course, Thresh is something that's up and available, historically considered a very good laning matchup into the Leona, as the Flay cooldown shorter than the Zenith Blade cooldown, allows you to stop a lot of those engages. That said, the roaming, the playmaking potential coming in from Leona has been pretty impressive across his entire tournament, so would not be surprised to see DAMWON be really okay with that trade. The Tahm Kench will be banned away, stopping more of these safety options, more of these diving options. It's not just about the laning phase with the Tahm Kench. You saw in that both sounds of the game how much Devour can do when you have an assassin to save.
So we're going to see if another top laner gets banned. It's flex pick. Still technically counts, I guess.
Yeah, well, a little top ban, a little bot ban too. Why not? Double value.
Could go for double AP here and put Nogre on his cannon.
Yeah, and I actually really like the set ban here because while Set wasn't the most successful pick in the previous game, it was also into an Ezreal. It was a champion that Set was never really going to be able to catch or lock down reliably. This time around, though, that big pick that we were talking about, that big muscly man in the bottom lane, is not going to get grabbed. Wow, okay, never mind. Instead, they're going to opt for the Lulu here. Lulu, very smart, soft denies the Pantheon a little bit for how much pressure you can get in the lane, but still could go top for Nogari.
Yeah, exactly. It's still a flex pick. So continuing with the trend from red side of the last pick support and seeing if you can get, the advantageous matchup to then bleed into the jungle matchup. We saw Nogari play the Lulu in top side, I believe, against Rogue, if I recall correctly.
Ooh, and now the Scion as well. Well, we've run the gambit here on the top side of the map. We've gone from full carry matchups into game 2. We may just have ourselves full tanks, although with the Ornn banned away, it looks like it is going to be the Lulu top side.
Works really well into tank matchups, can't really be punished very well, brings a lot of superficial tankiness for herself with her wild growth, and then there is the Leona. So really strong, long range engage and a lot of setup. And one of the things that Yamato talked about on the analyst desk in terms of DAMWON's composition of having something like a Graves, having something like a Fiora, is that the Fiora needs you to babysit it. It needs you to water it, to grow, to give it attention. Graves also requires a lot of resources. You need to babysit it, you need to play for it, you need to give it a lot of attention. This time around, there are so many tools for Canyon to be that sweet summer child. It is all about babying him, growing him up big and strong. He has a Lulu, he has a Syndra, he has a Leona. He has everything to make him shine. Absolutely
does. Has the armor from his E, which is going to be insane against G2's team composition. You've got Akali, who is almost exclusively magic damage, to be fair. There's a little bit of a split profile, but mostly magic damage. But if Akali does not get ahead, this is going to be very difficult. And even if she does, she has to get through a solo lane Lulu, who's going to be farming up across this game. Now, skirmishing, team fighting, this is all, of course, going to matter a lot, but as we know, lane pressure is everything. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on the level 1. We're going to be keeping our eyes on the early lane phase to figure out who can get priority and who can use that priority to shut the enemy team down before they get a chance to set up and play the way they want to play. 1-1 in the series right now. Winner, of course, moves up to match point. Big place to be for G2 Esports. Hungry for that second opportunity at the finals versus the LPL. Caps, it will be his third. On the opposite side for DAMWON, fighting for all of the LCK. Looking to make themselves back in. It's been 3 years since the LCK has played in a World's Finals. Maybe this is going to be the one that makes the difference.
It's the LCK killers versus the new hope of the LCK. And frankly, the future looks very bright if you're a DAMWON fan. This team, when they get ahead, they look so dominant. So game 1, you had an absolute shellacking from DAMWON. In game 2, a lot more back and forth, a lot tenser, a lot more of these fights on kind of the knife's edge of who is going to mechanically outperform. And now, speaking of mechanical outperformance, we get to see Caps on Akali. This champion, of course, the big break point is going to be on the completion of its first item and then sending it out into a side lane. You have great mobility of a Scion and especially a Pantheon. And the Pantheon in particular because it's the mixed damage profile of the AD as well as the AP from the Akali to play side lanes and to snowball and kind of become that hunter style of gameplay. And that's an Omnistone.
It is definitely an Omnistone. Now, Omnistone, I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably the most hated mastery in this game right now, but it does do some interesting things for you. Obviously, Scion can, in theory, utilize many of those masteries in the laning phase, but since he's against Lulu, he probably won't. But the good news is you will on occasion get a Predator. You will on occasion get some of those very high-impact runes. Glacial Augment, something you might normally expect to see, or a Grasp. An Airy in this case, which, won't really do much in this matchup as mentioned, but doesn't hurt too bad. You're not going to be close enough to proc Grasp. Glacial feels good, but I guess in this case, Wonder wanting to roll the dice a little bit more in terms of mastery selection. Would rather have some randomness than the consistent Glacial.
Now, because it was a leash by Beryl and Ghost, it means that Mickey and Perks get first access into the wave. You already saw Mickey take his swing with his spear, and the initial push advantage for Perks and Mickey. They should feel fairly safe pushing super far forward. Initially, Canyon's not going to want to spend a lot of time ganking, even though he does have good setup at this point, because revealing yourself on a map in this matchup would just be devastating for your jungle. So it should be the all clear for Perks and Mickey to play hyper aggro, at least for the first few levels.
Yeah, and that's an important because G2 need a point of pressure on the map right now, because in top lane, Lulu, you expect to be bowling out to Sion a decent amount, getting some good damage in, or fighting for wave push. Mid lane, Caps is going to suffer early on. Obviously, if he can sustain a trade, if he can get a lot of passive procs, it's going to feel really good, but Showmaker, not the kind of rookie player to let that happen early on in the lane. And this lane phase matchup, very different than what we've seen from most of these guys. The entire tournament, it's felt like roam, 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 roam. And this feels like the first lane matchup where we're actually going to see laners lane in the mid lane.
Though range versus melee matchup, Akali does have some tools to try to outplay around Syndra, but I would still favor Syndra here, especially for the push advantage, even though the Q has had some nerfs taken to it to make it not as oppressive as it once was.
And you can see that burning through the mana very quickly here as we check in on the bottom side. Mickey going to clear out the ward just to help sustain this push to kind of threaten the possibility of a lane gank. Level 2, not too bad here. Level 3 for both supports is pretty massive. Pantheon is kind of his get-out-of-jail-free card there with the E. Kind of track that one as we move forward, as Mickey trying to set that passive up by autoing the minions.
Unlucky scuttle rotation there, though, for Jankos. It's topside scuttle crab, and you can see that there's priority from Showmaker as well as Noggery there. So Canyon should feel comfortable to take its time. Krugs into topside crab. As here we go.
Coming out. Perk's going to take a tower shot, reloading. Finishes now. Getting some good damage back and forth. Jankos could get cheeky and go for a kind of play here. The flash over the wall. Is he going to go for the dash here on the Beryl, trying to finish one off? Beryl just sidestepping, though. The Wolf just barely ticking. First blood coming through. Mickey from downtown with the spear.
Very well done there from G2. Set up very nice. It was a slow push. They're now looking to repeat dive on Ghost.
Going to go in. Mickey can block a little bit of damage, but does he have the mana to actually block anything? Mickey is going to get traded back. Minion's going to finish the job. That's a double kill for the Ash. G2, it started so good, but it ended so bad.
I mean, you still get the added bonus and advantage of that the wave was denied from Ghost and Beryl, but obviously that one's not going to feel very good as Ghost now walking back to lane with his completed Pumas. He's feeling okay.
Yeah, lane's not even that bad of a spot. We'll see if we can get a dive here on the top side. Of course, always difficult to dive the Sion is when the passive comes out. It just ruin your day, ruin your dive pretty much immediately. That said, it's just going to be the smoke screen to stop the back. Just a little bit more minor lane advantages here. As Beryl already back on the map and already into the mid lane. Level 6 big for Caps. Maybe they're anticipating an all-in here when he ticks over. That's going to be big. Cap's going to take a decent amount of damage. Beryl waiting. They're holding on, but they realize they've been outnumbered. Showmaker forced to flash away. G2 bringing more members to the party means DAMWON Gaming just have to back off.
Using the tempo advantage that Beryl had from a tactical death, if you will, and then getting to the mid lane first right there, turns around sideways as Mickey shows up and gets 2 flashes off of Showmaker and Beryl. G2 come back swinging. This early game has been going tit for tat so far, and with those flashes missing, I feel like the emphasis should be now on G2 and kind of making good on those flashes and running away with this early game if possible. Absolutely.
And with Akali getting closer and closer to level 6, mid lane is certainly going to get more difficult for Showmaker, especially now that he's down the flash and the teleport. Cap still has both of his summoners up and available. And of course, across the entirety of Worlds, Caps has not been about laning. He's been about roaming, about unleashing himself on the map. That lane percentage lowest among all the teams in groups. He does not lane, he roams, he ganks. So shutting him down early feels good in this matchup, but you have to keep him down if you do not want him to start trying to take over the map.
I do want to talk about the vision, though, that DAMWON have placed. They have 2 red wards on Caps' flanks, the top side as well as the Raptor camp itself. So they did spot Jankos actually shadowing behind Caps. So there is like a little window here where Canyon can get in underneath, and they know it's 2v1.
Good setup, but he goes into the Shroud. Here's the frustration here. Graves definitely wants to right-click that Akali. He definitely can't as long as the Shroud is available. So some of the frustration coming through now. Obviously, level 6 for Showmaker is still very big, but the Null Magic Mantle will mitigate some of that burst damage, expecting to see Merc Treads come out from Caps.
It should mean that he won't have 100% guaranteed kill pressure in kind of the 1v1 having the Null Magic Mantle that you just talked about, but it does mean that Canyon will have access still with the priority of his bot lane and his mid lane to rotate over into an Ocean. Showmaker even moving on top to place down the control ward and dissuade Jankos from the Blast Cone. So even though DAMWON aren't able to you know, make good on their experience advantage that they have in mid lane, still with the pressure, they secure themselves the dragon and look for that early dragon stack.
And a lot of this feels like we look at G2 as the team kind of dictating the pace of the game right now, getting those 2 flashes in mid lane. That feels good to watch if you're a G2 fan, but because they lost those 2 kills on bottom side, they're trading pressure back and forth in this bot lane. It's no longer just a sole point of pressure for this team, and that means a lot. That means giving up something like the Ocean Drake.
So Caps wants to back right now, but he's being called by Jankos to help get his mark. But here comes Wonder, 3v2. There's no flash on Showmaker.
That's an electrocute Scion. What can Wonder get done? That's going to be a big knock-up. Decent amount of damage here, but they have to respect the Syndra ultimate now coming through. Wonder going to try to get into the backside, but Jankos already taken down. Wonder maybe hoping to get some value out of that passive, but that's the second half of the perfect execution coming in from Macaulay too. G2 missing on that Scion. It'll cost them a ton. Big knock-up here, not going to connect either, and DWG Gaming coming out on top in that trade.
Also not having the ultimate on Jankos. Level 5 to level 6, the difference between the junglers right now, not having access to the Lamb's Respite, that it didn't matter that Showmaker was down a key summoner like the Flash, and like game 1, G2 biting off more than they could really chew in some of these skirmishes, and now diving Wonder.
Have to be careful, that's the polymorph coming in. Wonder going to flash away, going to sidestep too just to make it out to safety. Canyon taking a decent amount of damage here. Wonder can stay, can try to clear the wave, doesn't have a TP. Jankos is there to back him up, but Nagri also has no mana, a problem very common for top lane Lulus. They harass so much that there's nothing left for them here to threaten the dive, so Wonder can stick around. Obviously could just decimating smash to clear the wave, so all things considered, giving up the flash, definitely not what he wants, but trades 1-for-1 on the flashes and sticks around to keep the wave.
But it's still the fact that Canyon has gotten the better of Jankos here. Jankos still only level 5, trying to kind of pick up the scraps of his jungle that Canyon has left him. And Canyon already now resetting his Krug camp, can move down to his Raptor camp if he wants. Like, he has really big advantage in pace in the jungle, 39 to 58.
And that's brutal. Because usually it feels like Jankos is trading this for so many more active plays on the map. But again, because the bot lane dive ended up being a 2-for-2 instead of maybe a 2-for-1 or a 2-for-0, it doesn't feel like he got nearly as much out of it as he wanted to. And now Canyon well ahead of the clock, looking very strong on this Graves, and he is a man who is going to be set up for success. He has a Lulu who's already finished Athenes on the top side of the map. He can get a little more armor under his belt and essentially be unkillable.
There is a mid lane play being set up from G2, however. They've pulled both Mickey and Perks, level 6 on the Jhin, but no level 6 on the Pantheon here, as Showmaker and Beryl might reveal themselves here. And you can see that Ghost is deciding to walk towards the mid lane instead of immediately going bot lane, but the team's maybe gearing up to play for Herald.
Of course, Herald early game, very big deal. A few more plates for any lane matchup is going to matter a lot. Good news, of course, for G2 on the top side is Wonder surviving that play is not too bad off here in terms of individual CS. Lulu going for the support itemization does hurt her a little bit in the individual 1v1, but obviously it's going to make her that much more of a terror in these skirmishes. Mickey has been spotted out. Pretty much has to commit here as he can just get run down if he doesn't go for it.
And wants to ult out.
But there's too much CC. They just have to stagger their CC and everything's fine. Flash over the wall. Mickey's going back over, and that just feels like too much for him. They're going to take him down. Kill's going to get donated to Ghost. Mickey overstays his welcome on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, just frankly a big head scratcher. Maybe the assumption was that DAMWON had committed more numbers towards the top side. You can see that Canyon is already on the Rift Herald. I was just about to really credit Canyon. You know, so much action has been happening over the top side of the map because Jankos was trying to get that mark on the initial Scuttle Crab. He's now missed it out on 2 different times. That Jankos hadn't gotten a chance to go through his Raptor or his Krug camp. So he's actually falling really far behind Canyon in terms of his gold and his experience. And maybe Mickey thought that he was going for a deep dive into Narnia, that DAMWON was on Rift Herald, but they give the Mickey. He's now got the Rift Herald. Maybe they get something back here.
Hold that thought. Jankos looking for the 3rd stack of Mounting Dread. Mickey, no flash means he can't go over the wall. He's just going to have to back away from that one, but Showmaker already on the roam over.
Herald top.
Meanwhile, Wonder just going to one-shot the wave with the ulti. He can Herald top, but not super ideal. Sign, of course, if you don't have the hard CC to stop from wave clear. Hold that thought. Mickey getting absolutely blasted here in the exchange. Does not block all the damage. Kindred now coming in. Mickey's pretty much going to have to re-engage to save his teammates, and that's now Ghost on a rampage. He gets 2 kills for free on the bot lane dive, and he gets 2 follow-ups on the back of Mickey being in the wrong position.
Yeah, trying to really throw their weight behind that dive, and DAMWON just played them super patiently. And again, G2 are kind of running into this meat grinder that is DAMWON. They're just opening their mouth like, yeah, yes, sir, please, more peanuts, I'll take it.
And look, I get it, you're a Pantheon. You want to maximize on this early game value, on this early game playmaking, but I don't feel like you have the lead that you want. And now I feel like G2, if you're looking at it from G2's perspective, chill. Wait for Gunblade. Wait for someone who does more damage to come through. I know that Pantheon is going to fall off. It's not going to feel as good, even when you get that Umbral Glaive, but playing this aggressive is just continuing to put G2 in a deficit.
I do want to put credit on DAMWON, though, in terms of their defensive vision line. They have some great control wards that are set up behind their bot lane, and they are getting good information to counteract a lot of these plays that Mickey are trying to put down. You know, the fact that Canyon is there, that Showmaker is there to defend his bot lane, and it's not just G2 throwing it away, it's DAMWON being perfectly set up to catch it and to really punish. And now we're starting to have a repeat of game number 1 for game 3, the one that obviously would lead us to match point, and kind of the huge swing for this series. DAMWON, once they get control in situations like this, they almost never let up. They play so well around their waves, so well around their jungler, and Canyon has gotten everything this game.
Yeah, and Caps has not really been unleashed on the map. Mickey and Perks have not really gotten to build any significant advantages on the back of any kind of playmaking, and now DAMWON going to take their second Drake of the game. They've still got the Rift Herald that can be used to grab plates as long as they drop it before, 14 minutes. So all in all, they're set to snowball this gold lead even further. Should probably be up to about 2K and a Drake by the time they use that Herald. Top lane not going too bad, but it's also not going too good. Neither side really having too big of an advantage, but the Lulu utility versus the Sion utility will be something we have to keep our eyes on. Meanwhile, in the mid lane for now, Caps not getting bullied as hard as you might expect, but certainly not doing much in this mid lane matchup. Wow, tripping. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, obviously waiting for that Ghost Blade. We'll see what components he gets from it on this initial back. He's been sitting in lane for quite a while, but right now just sitting on 2 amp tones.
Instant Cutlass. Instant Revolver. Not too bad.
Still a ways away, however, as that's 2 dragons now in DAMWON's back pocket. The next Herald will be spawning relatively soon, as the initial one's going to go down and pick up some plates there for Graves.
Mickey again caught out, though. Aegis Assault going to block a little bit of the damage here, but they are just going to take him out and take him down. Ghost now unstoppable.
Getting in on the emote game as well.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. This one looking very, very tough for G2. This is not the kind of early game deficits that we know them to find themselves in. And 2K, along with 2 Drakes, DAMWON Gaming, total control.
Yeah, and you say that we don't normally see G2 fall into kind of these deficits, but I don't think G2's early game has been that strong this tournament. I think it's mostly been about their mid game, even in games where they do get massively ahead in the early game in terms of their group stage games. There were those massive throws from just being over-eager, and it feels like G2 games right now are very heavy skirmish base, and sometimes the skirmishes go their way, and if teams can contest them and match them on it, then things can wildly spiral out of control, and that's what's been happening with these DAMWON games 1 and games 2. Ghost is 5-1 right now on this Ashe. Doesn't have the CS lead, and Perks is still doing okay, having access to the Infinity Edge, not going for the Storm Razor route, but I don't know, this is looking real dire right now. Absolutely is.
And now, again, time for some good news. Tower plates have fallen away. Herald was used to not much effectiveness, it would appear. And in the meantime, of course, on the top side of the map, Lulu, because she's not building full damage, because she's not building to be a lane bully, she's starting to fall away from that point in the game. So while Nagari can hold on to the CS that he has held, he can pretty much go even in the lane. Sion kind of just walks up to the wave, ignores Lulu's cooldowns, Qs it, one-shots it, pushes it in, and walks away. So he has weathered the early game storm, and he is now in a position to be the tank that G2 need him to be. That said, Perks is in trouble. Beryl is on the hunt. And you're keeping your eyes on that ultimate. He's got Flash, he's got Cleanse, but the base damage alone might be enough. The sidestep is clean, but instead they're going to turn for Mickey. And once again, Pantheon put in the meat grinder. Mickey taken down. And DWG Gaming just tearing this bot lane apart.
I mean, I guess maybe you could say that Mickey's dying for Perks' sins, but right place, right time for Canyon and Beryl again. This jungle support duo are running circles around G2 in Game 3. Only a 1K gold advantage, but where the gold is being funneled is exactly where you want it, and it feels really nice right now. Ghost completed his Bork. As soon as this tower drops, they're going to be able to play Snap on mid-wave because they'll have CC from Syndra as well as that Ashe Arrow, and that's when things can get wildly out of control for G2.
Here we go, big play in the mid lane. Mickey flashing forward, level 7, 5 deaths. He's not concerned. He's still going to go for it. Caps leaping in. Jankos is just going to walk away, but Canyon now stepping forward. Mickey has no way to block any further damage, and he's going to trade his life for that one. Lamb's Respite thrown down and ignored. Jankos will retreat, but G2 do get 1 kill back.
Mickey's still trading his life, though.
And Caps doesn't get anything. He's still 0-0-0.
That one's going to feel bad. Okay, but here's the big thing. So G2 found a window where they knew that Beryl and Ghost were really going to push down bot lane to force the tower down.
Oh, that's big! Little Scion Speedway, anybody?
A little bit of whiplash there as Scion comes sprinting down and finally gets Caps on the board. Now the Ghost Blade is complete. So this is the silver lining for G2. Now you can set Caps out into a side lane. You can continue to funnel gold out there, try to use the mobility of the Pantheon and the Akali to catch people out on side lanes, and then park Jhin into your mid lane. The danger zone, though, is, again, now the Ashe will be unlocked on the mid lane, throwing the arrow from Fog of War, cheating up into the top side river, trying to find more picks as DAMWON will start to position over this next Rift Herald that spawned.
Additionally, landing that Scion ult at max range is not a super reliable way to get kills kicked off. So G2 still have to play careful, still have to play smart, and right now the Lulu, though, 2 items strong. Support items obviously very cheap, as Caps is going to get caught out here, is going to get locked down. Gonna hit him with just about every piece of CC they have. They're waiting for him to get out of the Shroud. The exhaust coming in, but it might be too little too late. They're now backing off. Mid lane tower will go down. Showmaker on the hunt for another kill. Goes forward, does hit the stun. Push R. He can't get in range to do it. Oh, Showmaker has to be frustrated with that one. Caps just barely holding on, but DWG Gaming keeping up the mid lane pressure. Mickey's so weak, he can still leap in, potentially get out, but he has to be careful.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Canyon, again, farming his topside camps, has been covering for Nagri up into the top side. Now could turn towards the Rift Herald if he wants to, and G2, while Caps didn't get pressed hard on by Showmaker Syndra, lost their mid lane tower, and are just trying to fight for table scraps right now. They want to run into this river and deny the third dragon, but the TP's coming through. DAMWON are planting their feet. They're fighting for it.
Mickey has to be careful. That's his major cooldown. It's gone now. He can get picked off so easily.
Oh, Caps.
Here's the thing, is we haven't seen this team fight with the Lulu yet, but the Lulu is insanely strong.
Okay, Caps.
That's Ardent Athenes.
Caps is behind them on a control ward. DAMWON have no idea that he's there, and Ghost could walk up into him, or Showmaker to pick up this blue buff.
Has the ult, Hex Flash over the wall. They still haven't seen him. There's the Predator coming in from the Omni Stone. Wonder kind of trying to zone off. They know they can't afford to give this up. He's going in onto Ghost. This is massive. Caps moving through the entire team. Wonder now in the midst of everything, but G2 are backing up. Mickey's just so incredibly kishy. They do not have the gold. They do not have the damage. G2 are now getting run down. Canyon looking unstoppable. How about a little bit of Ardent? How about a little bit of Athenes? And how about a Dragon for DWG Gaming? G2 just forced out of the pit.
The Graves ultimate was massive damage across multiple members of G2 all grouped up. It absolutely annihilated them, and DWG stay hunkered together. They turned on the blue buff together. The Akali had to go all the way across the fight. They forced G2 out and then pick up their third dragon, setting themselves up for Mountain Soul in 5 minutes.
Huge, huge play. And that's the thing. We felt like Wonder, ooh, maybe he could match in this team fight, but it's just so difficult for G2 to finish the job. Even with the perfect flank, we can take a look at this one more time. Really hard to burst someone out.
And you talked about how squishy Mickey is right now and how much damage he initially takes. That was, I think, some damage from Showmaker across the wall, and then the Graves ultimate comes through, hits 3 members at least of G2.
Yeah. And you're in a position right now where it's very hard. You're behind, even with a frontliner like Scion. It doesn't really feel like you win front to back. You can try to go for picks, but in a lot of cases, you're not going to have the damage if Lulu is in the area. So G2 really hunting for isolated members, it feels like, but very much difficult to find.
Now with the Dragon Soul on the horizon for DAMWON, they've now moved in to contest the mid wave and set themselves up over the Herald. Caps is just trying to play pick right now. He's trying to catch Showmaker approaching the top lane wave, get behind him, and find the assassination. So we're looking for all outplay if you're G2, whereas DAMWON, once in control, will play around wave state, pick up the objectives as necessary, and kind of cruise control to victory at this point.
Yeah, DAMWON are in their comfort zone. Caps trying to shake things up. We've seen how effective this can be. Level 13 to level 12. Obviously, can't see what DWG can see, but he has to be careful. He really wants to one-shot a single member of the enemy team, and it's difficult to do. But how long is he going to commit for this? He's sacrificing waves.
He's either waiting for Canyon to get onto the Krug camp, or he would be waiting for Showmaker to show on wave. So there's one. Oh, Showmaker's so smart. He's heading to Canyon.
Just in case. Do they know he's in the bush? Cat's
there.
No. They dash aside. He steals away the Krugs. He just lost an entire wave to steal those Krugs. He's now locked up. He's now stunned. He can go into the Shroud. He can try to buy a bit more time. But the second he shows, the ult will come out and Caps will go down. Push R to find a kill. Showmaker knocking out Caps.
I'm curious if they had tracked Caps and knew he was still in the area, or if it was Showmaker simply just wanting to deny any sort of information from G2, didn't want to show on the wave, shoved it forward, and then immediately walked back into tower. But again, it feels like you keep saying with DAMWON, right place, right time, because their fundamentals are so clean. They play with each other so well, and this is the final evolution form of DAMWON, from incredibly talented, mechanical, individual players to such a holistic, clean, and disciplined team. They are running circles when they get leads around G2.
Absolutely are. 2K advantage right now, looking to grow. Here's the Herald charges in for G2, holding on as much as they can. It's a very difficult game to play out. It's not impossible by any means. 2 items now coming through for the Jhin is a good sign, but
it's going to get another charge.
Pressure is very much in favor, and DWG Gaming look like they want to up the tempo of this game. They do not want to give G2 any time to scale.
Well, they have huge tempo advantage to do this because they see that Caps has shown himself on bot side. He does have teleport, but there's not a lot of vision for him to TP to. He'd have to TP either right in front of the pit.
This is big. This could be the final fight. Lulu's there to support the team.
Here comes Sion.
Health bar staying relatively high. Stun is going to miss. Caps off to the side. Now they're getting the setup. That's the curtain call, but who is it going to be? Curtains 4. Wonder getting into the midst of the entire team. Barrel taken down, and G2 holding on for now. They can look to push in mid lane. They can look to get something off the back of this. DWG Gaming get a little aggressive, and G2 are there to punish.
Yeah, inside track for mid lane, however. We'll see if DWG look for the re-engage. They still have big key ultimates like the Ashe ultimate as well as Syndra.
Death spinning smash dash massive. They've hit Jankos. Jankos, can he hit the ult in time? Should be certain. Perkz now leaping forward onto Ghost, though, trying to finish the job. Perkz gets this one. It is the 1-for-1 trade. Caps now looking for the cleanup. This is big. Showmaker's incredibly low. Caps wants to close this one out with style. Flashing through, finishing off Nuguri. Polymorph, but too little too late. Now getting the passive procs as well. That's going to be shield. This is massive. G2, I can't believe it. It's a miracle skirmish. There is no way they should have won it, but they still managed to make it happen. But what else will they stay for? Showmaker not afraid. Nuguri taken down. G2 on the retreat. And they managed to get out alive. The gold now dead even.
Okay. By the skin of their teeth, they managed to push DAMWON off of it. Great skirmish into the jungle to help them get back. The Observer showing the minions that are dying on the sideways as well as the tower going down. So all in all, it feels like G2 are losing on the map, but when it comes to the skirmish, it's kind of finding these miracle fights. Shout out to Perkz and Mickey here. They force the flash off of Ghost. Perkz then follows it with the flash of his own, trades 1-for-1, but gets a massive shutdown on the back half of that, so 800 gold into his back pocket, and then the skirmish on the top side.
So good, and we have another fight on your screen, and Caps is just going to get one shot. That's very big. Barrel's now on the follow-up. Ignore the replay, because what's in the pip needs to be your focus. Set their sights on that one. Barrel, they're trying to turn it back. Jankos manages to get a kill. DWG Gaming again, potentially overextending. Force shot, not enough. 570 damage, will not finish the job, and Ghost is able to walk away. G2 fighting with everything they have. Big arrow! Sidestep's not there. The hitbox is favorable. The collateral damage, body blocked by Wonder. The extra range, not enough on that one.
Look at Jankos. He's actually trying to get in position for the dragon to spawn so he can potentially look for a steal there. DWG are just trying to hard force down to the mid lane and then move as a unit into this dragon. They're now with the health lead, but no key ultimate. So there's no Graves ultimate, no Lulu ultimate, no Ashe, no Syndra, nothing.
Flash favorable for Jankos. He has to steal this one. The game will get so incredibly difficult for Caps if there's a Mountain Soul on the enemy team. But they've zoned them off for now. DWG Gaming, Barrel's on the way in. Caps is on the way in, but the health bars for the side of G2, they do not have a Lulu, they do not have a Themes, they do not have an Ardent. They have a tanky front line, and Wonder is going to need to be the difference maker here. Ultimate not available yet, though. It's going to be a difficult fight.
Caps has managed to get here, though, all the way from spawn, now walking past the Raptor camp, so it's going to be a 5v5. There's a reset from Showmaker. He does have teleport.
Can't come back to the fight full health. Perkz backing away. Looks like he's going to try to use Legend to lifesteal here. Mickey has been caught out again. How many cooldowns are they going to burn? That's the shutdown into Mickey. That should be premier access to this.
Look at Caps behind them.
Mountain Soul. It has to be Mountain Soul. Jankos, can he get the steal? Can he get it?
Caps is waving the white flag. He's calling
2K.
The recall right now.
It has to be, but it's not going to happen. That's Mountain Soul for DWG Gaming. Life of an Akali just got infinitely harder. He cannot find the flank. They cannot find the opportunity. And again, DWG Gaming find a pick onto Mickey to kick things off, and G2 can no longer contest.
And still slowly choking them out. DWG have beaten G2 in terms of their objective setup, in terms of their macro rotations, and in terms of their monster and objective control. It's a very close game in terms of gold, but you know, the only time G2 are finding these advantages are in these big bar fights, these brawls, these skirmishes in the jungle. So we take a look back at what happened to start this all off. It was Caps taking a greedy recall and Barrel punishing for it.
Yeah, Barrel very, very tanky at this stage of the game. Of course, Yanko's going to get one back here, but the good news for G2 is that before the previous fight, prior to this one, they could not have taken fights like this at all. So they are much more in the game than they have any right to be. They found a way to come back. They found that miracle play that we know G2 can. But the issue is DWG Gaming, now with a Mountain Soul as well, are still in control. They are still in the driver's seat, and G2 have to give them that respect.
But G2 are a team that, you know, we call them live fast, die young, because they won't just passively watch themselves lose the game, and they're never out until you take them down. And that does mean that things can wildly get out of control, but you at least know that G2 will fight you for it. They'll make you work for it. But difference here is, like you were saying, DAMWON have all of the tools. They would love to fight G2 at this point.
Absolutely would. Checking in across, though, it's been so many fights, we haven't gotten to look at itemization recently. That's 3 coming in for Graves. Looks like we're going to have an IE next coming in for Canyon. He is very much the carry. An additional redemption for Nagari, so he is fully in the support role this time around. Locket as well coming in from Barrel.
Mountain, Locket, and Redemption make Cap's life so difficult to play in these team fights. You said that he's going to really struggle to find any sort of kill pressure, and now DAMWON are setting up the trap.
Waiting, baiting. But, of course, there's pressure on the bottom side that's going to come in from Wonder. G2 playing for the creeps because they know they cannot play for the objective at this point. DWG Gaming's bluff is called. There is a single ward in the river. You can see it highlighted up there as the observers pan over to it. That gives G2 all the information that they need to know that that was a trap. Mickey flashing away. Does not want to add another death to the scorecard.
Big thing is that Ghost's flash has actually been on cooldown for the last 5 minutes, is now just about to come up, and it was never really punished. So still 6-2-2 on this Ashe. Probably going to go back and finish the Infinity Edge, I would imagine.
Mickey finding the stun, though. Denying the recall from Showmaker. Immediately is forced to use the E, though, before the fight really even starts. He's about to get one tapped here, but Wonder going to try to body block as best he can for his support. The ulti's going to go wide from the Graves. Caps up to the side. Is forced to burn the ult to disengage, but Barrel now re-engaging onto the Scion. That's the front line for G2, but he's just getting absolutely shredded by Ghost. The Ashe damage is ridiculous. Wonder in zombie mode. Tries to get some damage back, but Scatter the Weak stops him from getting anything else. Mickey on the retreat. Canyon running forward. Good damage in response from G2, but not nearly enough. Caps to the backline. Caps trying so hard to make the play, but Nagari will not let it happen. Lamb's respite buys G2 a bit of time, but it will not buy them the Baron. It will not buy them a way back into this game, and DWG Gaming set their sights on the big purple worm.
And Mickey, again, caught out. Thinks that he himself has a pick, doesn't realize that all of DAMWON are around the corner right there. DAMWON win the team fight, win the Baron, have the Mountain Soul, and now looking at Elder in 2 minutes and 46 seconds. The gold lead is close, but DAMWON feels so in control.
And we look back at this one, and you can tell G2 really just fishing for these big plays. The problem is that Syndra alone is enough to kill Mickey, so he immediately has to respect E to block the damage. And well, Wonder stops it, while Canyon's ulti is going to go wide. Even with a lot of those cooldowns being burnt, still, G2 cannot find the fight. DWG Gaming playing pretty well front to back here. The Jin ult ultimately unaffected because Barrel is more than enough frontline, it would appear. There's the redemption you talked about. It looks like Locket was used earlier in the fight, and they just cannot kill anyone on this DAMWON lineup.
Yeah, and it's the fact that Nagari and Jin were late to the team fights themselves. As soon as Nagari teams up, you know, Caps is in the middle of them, looking between a Lulu, Mountain, all of these defensive spells. He's like, there's nothing I can do. The Infinity Edge is now complete. Ghost has gotten his back in, so Bork, Hurricane, Eye Edge, Baron, he is very wealthy.
It's just a brutal game to play Akalian. It's quad Mountain Soul. You kind of want a QSS, you kind of want a stopwatch. You really do not want to get whimsied in the middle of these fights. You really do not want to get one-tapped by Syndra Ultimate either, and neither one of those items solves either one of those problems immediately. You need both.
And I think a big issue is the inability to play a lot of side lanes. Even if he feels that he can get a favorable matchup, he shouldn't have a lot of kill pressure with the Zanya's Hourglass being completed by Syndra, as well as the fact that it's a Lulu.
As well as the fact that this Graves is very strong and has the challenging smite as well. You can see Caps getting some energy back there, but only really trading even. Is now going to dash through, is going to flash out to safety. Wonder ulting in, but can't get much done.
Yep, just ulting in to close the distance. DAMWON do this a lot, however, and it does make sense this time around because they do have a Lulu as opposed to something like a Fiora.
Good arrow.
Maybe chasing past this, but they group up a lot as 5 on their Baron instead of applying multiple waves.
Yeah, grouping up on the Baron, but they have the Lulu as well to empower this push, and you can see how much damage Ghost does. Wonder slowly but surely getting chipped away out. No ultimate to speak of, only level 15, does not have max rank and the lowest cooldown possible on that ultimate, so cannot re-engage a fight here. Instead, DWG Gaming just going to settle for this bot lane tower. Looks like they'll grab the inhibitor as well, and it's just a steady, controlled push from DWG. They are an absolute juggernaut. Once they stop moving, it feels like they just cannot be stopped.
Now, Showmaker does have TP. He's going to TP back in, but Caps is behind them, but he may be too late.
Big ulti coming in, redemption to heal the front line back up. Lambs are spiking to offer them a little bit of extra healing as well. Wonder doing what he can, mostly just about clearing the waves right now. G2 shouldn't feel too comfortable in this 5v5. Caps
just needs to cut the wave. Needs to cut the wave and now run.
Yeah, he should be fine to run. But you can see the level of desperation coming through at this point for G2. This is really the only play that they have.
Yeah, and DAMWON super patient. Just shove in, don't overreach right there, don't give G2 an opening. The Elder has now spawned. They're setting up their own trap. Looks like they're going to catch G2.
Looking out, Barrel trying to find a priority target to stun. Perks for now untouched. The rest of the team now leaping out. Caps trying to jump back in, but how much damage can he actually get done on the backside of this team fight? One getting taken down. That's Mickey out of the fight. Wonder stepping forward. Caps in the middle of everybody. Curtain call, but who's actually going to go down? Caps running for the hills. Shuriken Flip takes him out to safety, but the flash in, the point blank shot from Canyon to finish the job. The polymorph as well. Wonder going to get taken down. It is Elder or the game for DWG Gaming. They can choose what they want to do. Wonder trying to get just a bit of damage back is going to hurt Canyon, but not nearly enough. Perks trying to finish off Ghost, but the shielding is there. DWG Gaming simply refused to die. They will not lose a single member in that exchange, and now they're moving in to close it out. Now they're moving in to take it up to match point.
Got the minion wave behind them, got the massive numbers advantage. It is Perks and Yankos versus the world, but DWG know that they have the game in their back pocket. They flash the FPX, they don't care, and they are now trying to hit the Nexus.
G2 on the cusp of elimination as DWG Gaming are going to take their time on this finish. One more death for Mickey X, 3-9-4 as DWG Gaming move to match.